about and parked our cars as far back as the church. The police had barricaded Parliament. I can't recall, but I think it was Senator Orengo who requested Speaker Ethuro to make a ruling. Mr. Speaker, your predecessor, Speaker Ethuro, adjourned the special sitting for 1 hour and ordered the then IG to order the police to leave Parliament Road. We did not proceed until they left. Mr. Speaker, it is very strange, Mr. Speaker, that our colleagues, Senator Malala was in Kakamega yesterday. He conducted a public function, traveled for this special sitting. At 1 a.m. or 3 a.m., police were outside his door blocking his gate, blocking a GK vehicle. And they're still there up to now. Lelegwe was being looked for yesterday, Mr. Speaker, arrested this morning on his way to the Senate. The Senator of Bomet, Mr. Speaker, is under siege. The police, Mr. Speaker, have parked outside his gate. The policemen have turned the residences of the senators of this house into a parking lot. Mr. Speaker, it is not feasible that you can lead a house where your senators are under siege. If a senator is being arrested, there is no reason why a policeman would go and just lay about at their gate, Mr. Speaker. It's painful, Mr. Speaker. The people who, and the reason why we have a special sitting and the reason why we are here in Article 123, Mr. Speaker, is that whoever has numbers will carry the day. We did not object to the formula, and neither did we carry guns into the Senate. Nobody was going to win by force. Mr. Speaker, this matter has upset me so much that I went into my archives and retrieved a magazine. It's called the Economic Review. This Economic Review, Mr. Speaker, is of June 23rd, 1997. It has a picture of the former President Moi seated where you're seated when the proceeding of the budget was going on. What happened on that day? Mr. Speaker, the minority leader of the Senate, Senator Orengo, did something very unusual. He sought for an adjournment of the budget. This gentleman seated here, who I respect so much and calls me his son.
Senator Muthula, let me just give some guidance. Allow the order to be called, then we resume debate, then you continue. Clerk. The order to, it was seconding, yes, it was seconding, but I'm saying we know we have not resumed the debate. So I just want the order to be called out, then I allow you to continue, just for procedure. The clerk, yeah.
Order number 2, motion, approval of the third basis for revenue allocation among the county governments.
Okay, Senator Muthula, yeah.
Speaker, the reason I retrieved this magazine is because the Speaker then, Kaparo, allowed Senator Orengo to move an adjournment of a budget reading which was being read by the then Minister for Finance, Musalia Mudavadi. It was not procedural that a budget could be adjourned, but in this magazine, Mr. Speaker, Senator Orengo was heard in silence. What was he asking, Mr. Speaker? He was saying, we can't have a budget unless we have constitutional reform. Mr. Speaker, although Senator Orengo did not succeed on that day on the adjournment, this country has changed and we have a new constitution. Mr. Speaker, we will not proceed today unless we have those 3 senators. If we have to sit on this table, we will sit on it. Because, Mr. Speaker, I am in this Senate. Mr. Speaker, I was elected in this Senate because one person who was a member of this Senate was found dead on his bed, Senator Muthula Kilonzo, my dad. And if it's not Malala, and if it's not Lelegwe, it's going to be me or you. The former President Moi, may his soul rest in peace, as the President of the Republic, allowed Senator Orengo to tell him on his face that he was misleading the country. We must tell the President Uhuru Kenyatta that we will not allow. This sort of thing cannot happen in Kenya. In 2020, Mr. Speaker, we are calling upon you to adjourn this House. Tell the IG we need the senators here. Unless those senators have committed treason, which is not bailable. Mr. Speaker, those senators should be here to conduct their business. I have represented Senator Haniri. Yes, I represented Senator Haniri when he was an assistant minister. When I was a young man, he was released on his own personal cognizance as an assistant minister. Even if there was an offense committed, those gentlemen can come here and we will represent them in court. But if my good friend and the person who calls me my father, Senator Orengo, who is here, and Fogisio, who allowed this special sitting, is going to allow this sort of thing to continue, Mr. Speaker, there is no reason why we are a legislature. We should call ourselves members of county assemblies. It is extremely upsetting, Mr. Speaker, that senators have to hide. People have to switch off their phones so that you are not traced by the police. When did this become a police state? When Senator of Nairobi, Sakaja, we raised a concern here. I know Senator Kangata had an issue about what happened to him. But this is exactly what we were saying. That when one member of this House is in trouble, Mr. Speaker, it doesn't matter what agenda it is. It doesn't matter who is winning. What matters, Mr. Speaker, is that we are together in this House to do the business of this country. Nobody is doing his personal business here. Mr. Speaker, I second this motion that we adjourn this business until we get confirmation. Mr. Speaker, who knows? While we are conducting this business, what is happening to Senator Lelegwe? He could be found in Ngong Forest. They could inject him with something and kill him slowly. I have seen the pain of death. I have smelt death. I have seen what happens when somebody gives you poison. You bleed and bleed so much, like my father did. May not happen to another person, because we are not conducting personal business of any person. I support. Thank you, Speaker.
Honorable Senators, I now propose